Hello, welcome to Travel Tales with Judith. I'm Judith, and I share stories about my lifetime of traveling and experiences and stories. This is episode 19A. These videos have to be kept rather on the short side, and I know I can't get it all in 6 minutes or so we're going to divide it up. In 1991, in December, I went to El Salvador and Nicaragua with the Center for Global Education, which is based out of Minnesota. I had been reading about issues in Central America rather obsessively for quite a while, and I wanted to see firsthand what the story was with regards to the Civil War conflict that was supposedly coming to an end at that time, 1991, the end of it, and the peace accords were scheduled to be signed in January of 1992. The purpose of a delegation, such as those run by Center for Global Education, is not to preach to you, not to tell you what's going on, but to expose you to a lot of different points of view and then have you draw your own conclusions. So we were down there and we met with U.S. government officials at the embassy. We met with clergy. We met with people representing what they called the guerrilla group, people from the government, and just people who lived there. The conflict was centered about over the fact that the government, the army, the officials, the rich people owned the majority of the land, and the marginalized poor people didn't either have land of their own or had to use someone else's land for their crops. They didn't have access to education, healthcare, et cetera, et cetera. The kind of typical problems between the rich and the poor. And at the time, the United States was definitely supporting the government in El Salvador, mainly because of financial regions, of course, and power reasons. Anyway, the Civil War in El Salvador had caused a lot of communities, of poor people, to exit the country because they were in a lot of danger. A lot of people, men, were being conscripted and forced to fight on the other side. And so entire communities moved to Belize or Honduras or other countries for their own safety. But at this point in time, some of the communities were coming back. They saw that the conflict was maybe coming to an end, and they decided to come back to their home country where they felt the most comfortable. Unfortunately, they did not get the land back that they had before they left, but they were given some land somewhere in the country. So the day I'm going to talk about our group, which consisted of maybe, 12 people maybe, went out to this village that had already come back. And they had set up their houses. They're very poor houses, just built out of wood planks and things like that. And they were now established on this little piece of property, and this is where they were going to make their life again. So there were several things that impressed me about this, several things that gave me kind of a different life view. And the first one I want to talk about is the Catholic religion. I was raised Unitarian, which is, non-doctrinal and very liberal and very tolerant and very interested in other religions. And Catholicism, I knew something about, but what I really was impressed by here was the fact that the people lived their religion. It wasn't a Sunday religion, a holiday religion. It was a daily religion. There was scripture painted on the sides of their dwellings. When somebody had to get some crops in, everybody helped. Someone new came in and needed a house, everybody helped. When our group suggested at one point that it would be nice if they had a cow because they were worried about the children not having milk, we were told that it can't possibly have one cow. They would have to have enough cows so that there would be enough milk for all the children. You can't, so that everybody would get the same thing. And a lot of this philosophy is communal, or some people would say it's socialist. But it was working really well. And a lot of it also was because the people related to liberation theology. And I'm going to stop here on this one, and we'll do episode 19, part B, in just a minute.